Hello everyone, and welcome to Module 3, Academic Plans and Goals. This is where we really get into planning out what your degree is and what classes you're going to take to make that happen here at RVC. So we will get into a little bit more detail about the STAMP assignment here in this first half. So I've given you a quick overview in one of our previous modules, but we're going to talk about it in more detail today. We're going to look at the different degree plans that RVC offers, and then we're also going to go over something called the IAI sheet, and I'll talk more about that, what that is, when we get there in the lesson. So for our warm-up question today on the announcements, what is a food that you will not eat? Let's see, for me, I feel like I like a lot of different foods. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm a picky eater, but one food that I just cannot get myself to like is mushrooms. I don't like them raw. I don't like them cooked. When they're raw, I think they taste like dirt. And when they're cooked, they're like slimy and weird. So I've tried them numerous times and I just can't bring myself to like them. So it would definitely be mushrooms for me. All right, getting into our STAMP assignment. So remember that part 1 is making your appointment with me, which by this point you should already have that done. Part 2 is writing some questions for the meeting and then turning those in on Eagle. Part 3 is where you actually meet with me as your advisor, and we're going to go over your plan for what classes you're going to take for your degree. And then part 4 is where you take those classes that we talked about in our meeting, you add them into student planning on self-service, and then you take screenshots of that and upload it into Eagle so I can see your kind of map for student planning. All right, so getting into our types of degrees offered at RVC, if my PowerPoint will click. I think my computer just froze, so that might be a little bit glitchy in the video here. Okay, so we have 3 different types of degrees. All of these are associate degrees. So we have an AA, which is an Associate of Arts, AS, which is Associate of Science, and then AES, which is an Associate of Engineering Sciences. All of these are transfer degrees, which means that you would be planning on transferring to another school after RVC to get like a bachelor's degree. Pre-science majors typically do the AS, the Associate of Science. So if you're somebody who is looking at like pre-med or at one of those science majors where you're really focusing on a certain area of science, or if you want to major in a science area, like you want to major in biology or in chemistry, you would do the AS. Most other majors are going to do the AA, the Associate of Arts. So even if you are thinking about going into healthcare of some kind, you still might want to do an AA. So there are nursing majors who will do an AA. It just kind of depends what program you're looking into. So I would say a lot of our students at RVC choose an AA, but there are plenty who are also interested in those sciences who might do an AS. Only engineering majors are going to do the AES. So it's a very specialized degree that unless you're going into engineering, you don't need to worry about that. But if you are going into engineering, that's something that you want to take a look at. AAS degrees are Associate of Applied Sciences, and so you can focus on different areas for an AAS, but an AAS degree is a non-transfer degree. So that means that once you get your degree from RVC, you are planning to go into your career area, into the workforce. You're not going to transfer to a 4-year college. So here we're going to take a look at the degree plan for an AA, and I'm just going to talk about some of the differences between the Associate of Arts, the AA, and the Associate of Science, the AS. So the AS degree plan is posted in the module online if you would like to see that. It's very similar to what this one looks like. So this is called a planning guide, and on here you will see that there are certain classes required for you to take. Certain types of classes, right? Social science classes, science, math. and you have to take a certain number of these in order to complete your AA. For an AS, there are a few differences in the classes that are required. So if you're doing an AS, you're going to have fewer humanities and social science classes, and you're going to have more math and science. So overall, your total number of credits will be the same. You're going to have 64 credits. You can see that down there in the corner. You'll have 64 credits whether you do an AA or an AS. It just is distributed differently between your classes. This is the IAI list that I referenced earlier. So an IAI list here at Rock Valley, these are all classes that will transfer to any Illinois college. So they're safe classes for you to take here that you know when you transfer that Illinois college is going to accept them when you transfer. So IAI classes are required for the AA, the AS, and the AS. What you're going to do for your stamp is before you come in and meet with me or before we have a Zoom, you're going to look at this list and you're going to mark classes on this list that you would like to take. And you're going to do that before we meet, because when we meet, I'm going to go back to this, we are going to fill out this plan together, either for whatever degree that you want to complete. So here it's going to tell you have to take an IAI Humanities, an IAI Fine Arts, an IAI Social Science. So you have to have those kind of picked out before you meet with me so we can fill those in. Now this is not anything that is set in stone, it's just a plan that we're coming up with. So you can always change your mind down the road for what classes you want to take, but you need to have at least an idea when you come in and meet with me. So this slide I really like because you can see how these two sheets work together. So I have color coded them for you so it's a little bit easier to see. So when you're picking out your classes on the IAI list, you can look at the degree plan over here and see how many you need to plan for. So if you are doing an AA, so we're looking at the degree plan for an AA, for Humanities and Fine Arts, you have 4 slots to fill in. So that means over here in your Humanities and Fine Arts list, and the Fine Arts is over on this third column as well, it continues over there, you would pick at least 3 classes from this list, because on your plan it says you need 1, 2, 3 IAI Humanities and Fine Arts. Your last Humanities and Fine Arts can be anything that we offer at the college. So anything in the catalog that's a Humanities or Fine Arts class would work there. It doesn't necessarily have to be an IAI approved class, but it can if you want it to be. So same thing here if we go down to the social sciences. It says you need 1, 2, 3 IAIs and then a 4th social science. So you would come over here to your social science list, pick out 3 or 4 to plug in to our plan. Life and physical sciences I've highlighted in blue. You can come over here and see in blue your choices. So it does say you need a biology and then you need a physical science. So you can see our list of biology classes here and then our physical science classes here. So you would choose one of each for our plan. You do need an IAI math, so that's highlighted in yellow, and you can come over here to the yellow list and see which one you would want to take for your major. And the math one, that's something that we'll talk about in more detail for Stamp Part 3, so you don't have to necessarily get too worried about which math you're going to take. That will depend on what you want to focus on with your major. But the other classes you can kind of pick out ahead of time. Then we get down to this nice fun part here at the bottom. Electives, 21 elective credits. So if you were thinking about, each class being about 3 credits, that gives you quite a few extra classes down here that you just kind of get to pick what you want to take. Now, you should be choosing classes that will go with your major when you transfer. So we will also talk about that more in your Stamp Part 3, but you will have, probably 7 more classes down here approximately to fill in for your elective classes. And then that will get you to your 64 credits that you need for your degree. So for this part of the assignment, you are required to type in what your planned degree is. So you're just telling me if you want to do the AA, the AS, the AES, or the Associate of Applied Sciences. If you are thinking about doing an Associate of Applied Science, please tell me what you want to focus on for that degree. Maybe it's automotive, or maybe it's computer science, something like that. My computer is being very glitchy today, so that might have kind of cut out. But anyway, so you're just going to type in what you want to do for your planned degree. It kind of cements in your own brain what you are choosing to do, and then it gives me a heads up before we meet of what your plan is.